Hey y'all, hello. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I should say welcome back to myself because I've been off here for a long time. Um, because grief, life, mental health, all of that. But I'm trying to get back in two things because I feel like the dust has settled a little bit. I'm coming back into this version of myself, this new version of myself. It's like I've been rebuilt and I have a new identity. And I'm just trying to make something shake, truthfully. But I want to start back on where I left off, which is talking about grief, because that's really the foundation and the bedrock of all of this. I want to talk about how we don't truly understand the gravity of grief, nor the deception that comes with it. So I do have notes on my phone, but I'm trying to just close the gap between thinking and doing because grief really has messed up my executive functioning. It's not even messed it up; it exposed the cracks in the foundation. And I'm sitting on so many ideas. I'm a yapper by nature, and I got to just stop planning and just start doing. So for the next 30 days, my plan is to post a video every day about what I don't know, but this is the first one. So I want to talk about grief because it's just a core tenet of my life. And if you are a person who's grieving, then it may be the same for you. But grief doesn't just make you sad. It does not just make you sad. And that is the biggest misconception. And how naive are we to even think that it's just about crying? It's just about being sad for a little while. Like, no, grief comes with health complications. Grief comes with reconsidering whether or not you want to go on. Grief comes with reevaluating your identity and your place in the world. Like, it comes with so many different things. So, like, I didn't explain it. I'm trying to go back and forth between notes, but I didn't explain it. But my parents passed away in 2022, and they passed away 6 months apart. Earth shattering, girl. Earth shattering. I still can't believe it happened. You still can't make me believe my daddy would just leave me like that. Like, no, not him. No. But for me, it has definitely changed the way that my brain works. I mean, it's a traumatic event. Changed the way my brain works. It changed my patterns, my routines, and how I just show up in the world. Like, I like to think that because these are my parents, this is a foundational thing. I think grief is very proximity based, meaning losing a cousin that did not live with you, y'all just kind of grew up together, y'all kind of grew apart at some point, it probably wouldn't impact you the same as losing the person you sleep next to every night. Or losing a grandparent for some people, like depending on what your relationship was like, they never lived with you, y'all probably didn't talk every day, they probably didn't raise you, but you still had a relationship. It feels totally different than losing your child or something like that, So these are people that I came from. Like, without them, I wouldn't be here. And I still be questioning, why did y'all have me? I mean, it was because my daddy wanted a kid, but why did y'all have me? Like, y'all, they were like almost 40 when they had me. My mother already had children, but my daddy really wanted a kid, and he was the best daddy to me. But yeah, like the deception in thinking that it's just about crying, it's just about being sad whole time, it's a nervous system reset. I cannot tell you, for the first year when my parents passed away, I used to wake up every day at the same time during their time of death, or around the time that I got a phone call about you all need to get to the hospital, or you know they've passed. Or even like how I can't even go to hospitals without hearing those heart rate monitors, and it triggers something in me because I remember watching the heart rate monitor go slower and slower and the heart rate go down with my mom. Or just, I didn't get to get in town in time to see my dad, but I spoke to him the night before he passed, and I was up all night thinking I was excited to see him because I hadn't talked to him for a few days. Like, he was in like a coma, and when I talked to him the day before he passed, like, how I remember how he looked at me, and then for the next time for me to see him was when he had already transitioned. So it's a nervous system thing for sure. It changes something in you. In addition to that, it's an identity disruption, right? You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know what matters to you anymore. I can't say you don't know what matters to you anymore. Things that you thought matter don't matter anymore. I will be the first to tell you your empathy decreases with people because you start realizing that a lot of this stuff don't matter. It ain't that important. It's not going to matter in another year, in another 2 weeks, but it's the thing for you right now. And it's like, you don't feel that way. You don't cry over the small things. These are just bumps in the road. Whereas for someone else, that's a mountain for them. Right. But for you, because you've been through the worst part of your life already, you've gone through the tragic thing, that's nothing. I'd rather have that than to have the loss of my parents, you know? So it's that. It is it's also a secret society. Okay. Cause I had a coworker who recently lost her mom. And her mom, people who lose people to cognitive degeneration, like dementia or Alzheimer's, they could say that they have two deaths or two different grieving processes. You're grieving the person that you knew and how they were, and then you grieve when they actually passed away. And my coworker was saying how she feels so supported by the people on our team who've actually grieved and lost someone. And you can tell the difference between us and how other people show up who haven't lost anyone or haven't lost anyone as close. And it's a secret society. Like one of my coworkers, she calls it a secret society that nobody wants to be a part of. And you don't know other people are a part of it until you become a part of it. Like it's like people aren't living double lives, but like we don't do a good job of talking about it or even integrating it into everyday conversation, especially in the corporate environment. So it's almost like people are living a double life that you had no idea about and you weren't even privy to. Having said that, the grief can trick you into thinking that you're just emotional or that you are not handling it well, when in reality, you're being rebuilt. At least that was the case for me. You are being rebuilt, and you really have to go through it and not get consumed by coping mechanisms that are unhealthy, going day to day and busying yourself with working all the time, etc. Like I've done grief support groups, and I can tell you that I was often the person who was the freshest from the death, meaning I came in, I wasn't going to do it at first when my mom passed, but my sister had did it. But then when my dad passed, I was like, oh no, I absolutely need more support. And I would go in meeting people and their loved one passed away or transitioned 10 years ago, 6 years ago, and it's just now coming to the surface for them. So I'm grateful that I was able to kind of work through it sooner, even though I've been working through it for these last few years, 4 years now. But yeah, so for me, like I said, I lost my parents. And for me, that was my emotional infrastructure. My mom was my identity in terms of personality and ego. And my dad was my identity in terms of empathy and emotional intelligence and emotions, emotional support. That was my biggest and best advocate. I hope that I can find some people and create a tribe of people who can love on me and support me in the way that he did and be resourceful like he was. Right now, that's really difficult. But yeah. So, having said that, in addition to losing my parents, I lost these patterns that I had. I lost these things that I thought I valued. And I no longer have the support system that I once had, i.e., I don't have a safety net. And that can feel disorienting, knowing that if I fall and I fail, I'm going to have the adverse outcome of homelessness or incarceration or even death, right? Now, I'm not suicidal. Okay. Let me repeat, I am not suicidal. However, baby, it was definitely touch and go for some times. Okay. Because I was also diagnosed with depression, which I don't think there's any shame in it, but some people do. But I have been on the medication. I've been doing therapy. I've been reading the books. I was doing the therapy and the books before my parents passed because I've been afforded the privilege of working on myself and healing myself before any of this happened. But the difference is I'm not talking about my inner child or my younger days. I'm talking about now. Like, yeah, my parents passed in 2022 and it's 2024, 5, 6, but it's still with me because what we don't talk about is how when after that funeral is over, you're still sitting at their pew. You're still at their burial site. You're still at their hospital bed, at their bedside. You are still there. And I felt so stuck psychologically, I think, or consciously. I felt stuck in 2022. I don't feel like I got out of that until maybe 2025. Actually, 2025, August 2025 was my first time, or wasn't the first time, but I celebrated going through 1 year of life where nothing bad was happening. You know, because so many other things happened in addition to my parents passing. And it's kind of like something, this joke between me and my sister's not a joke. It was really, I guess you could say, dark humor or sarcasm or whatnot. But you know how people think like you can't get no lower than this, or like everything has a basement, or you only go up from here. No, the basement has a sinkhole in it. Okay, the basement has a sinkhole in it, and we fell through. Um, but yeah, I didn't just lose my parents. I lost myself. I lost the system that was holding me together. I lost that safety net. I lost that support, especially my dad. My mother was disabled, so there was many things that she couldn't do. But my dad was Mr. Make It Happen. Okay. So my mom and dad both knew a bunch of people, but because my mom was disabled, she wasn't like, out being seen, talking to everybody. She was on that phone though, yapping, and now I be yapping just like her. I used to talk about her so bad, and I'm doing the same stuff. But yeah, like I don't have that anymore. So having said that, the cognitive impact, like I said, I was diagnosed with depression, and I really felt like I was living life with a GoPro on my head, and I was looking at my life or looking at my body from a external point of view. Like I just wasn't connected. I was disassociating. I was ruminating. I Everything went back to my parents. And what really got me in that space was I had this surgery in August 2023, very unplanned, impromptu. In fact, I had come back to the US for a wedding and for Essence Fest. And a week before I was supposed to leave again, okay, I was going to go to Panama. I was going all the way down the map, basically. And I had finished, my last place was El Salvador. I had come home. I was supposed to start back and then do Nicaragua, um, Honduras, Panama, and I was going to go to Peru. No, girl, my body was like, no. Had that surgery. The surgery set me down. That pain medication. I hate pain medication. I just hate the way it makes you feel like a mattress, like you're on a mattress in the middle of the ocean. I hate that feeling. Um, and after a certain point, I just started taking like regular pain reliever, I guess. And it forced me to really pay attention to my body because I was feeling all the pain, like from the incisions and just the physical pain of grief. But it made me sit down because I couldn't move. I couldn't travel. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do all this stuff. I had to sit there. And in sitting there, all these things started coming in that I was kind of like keeping at bay. So yeah, it was so bad to the point where people, family, friends were like, yeah, you should go get evaluated. You should go get some help. Like you don't seem like yourself. Like of course I don't. But when I was talking to my psychiatrist, she was like, do you hear yourself? Like, do you hear how you've explained everything that you're feeling and experiencing? You are depressed. You've lost hope. You've lost the will to live. And I'm like, touche. You're right. But in addition to like the mental health, I guess, my focus got worse. Way worse. Um, I lost the ability to maintain my home, like patterns of cleaning or routines of cleaning and things like that, to the point where I've always had cleaning services. Amen. I've had the privilege of doing that for I guess the last 10 years or so, but I really depended on them in these last few years. Here in the last like 9 months, not as much. Probably not at all. I had to call my cleaning lady. I actually miss her. But yeah, like I was so dependent on them because without them it wasn't getting done. I wasn't taking care of my hair. I wasn't taking care of my body, all of this stuff. I was still able to lose weight, yeah, because I was going to work out. But if I didn't go work out, it was like I wasn't bathing. I was only bathing because I worked out, right? But otherwise, no, I was in that bed all day. The lights were off all day. I wasn't talking to anybody, didn't go anywhere. And that's just not who I was. Um, so yeah, like I always had ADHD, I've always had anxiety, but the grief amplified it. In addition to that, it also showed up in the body for me, and it may be showing up in the body for you. I can remember joining grief support groups and people talking about how like you need to be mindful of your blood pressure, you need to be mindful of headaches and tension in your body. And for me, the tension in your body, child, I didn't been on muscle relaxers. I At one point I was getting a massage. I want to say every week or weekly, bi-weekly rather. Um, yeah, It was a lot. But then also being dysregulated, like, because again, I'm here, but I'm here, but I'm not here. So it was just a lot. So, like I said, I had been in therapy already, but I had got into new modalities of therapy, specifically EDMR, which I recommend, and IFS, which is internal family systems. Um, I can make a whole nother video about mental health. Nonetheless, I was even doing physical therapy too because, child, I slipped my disc. Again, another conversation. Either way, grief is just not something you experience. It is something that you carry with you and it grows with you. I can remember my first year before my dad had passed, actually. Only my mom had passed at this time. And one of my line sisters, she's older than the rest of us. She's like probably like 20 years older than us. And she said to me, she had lost her mom back in the 90s. And she said to me, there is no getting rid of grief. It grows with you. And she was absolutely right. Like I didn't feel in two ways when she brought it up. But yeah, it's absolutely true. It grows with you. It doesn't leave you. It just doesn't leave you. And another one of my line sisters, her husband had lost his parents. And she was explaining to me how he was feeling like he was a child again. And I felt the same way. Number one, I'm an orphan. I'm an orphan. Okay. Number two, I don't think I'll be the person I am now if it had not been for the grief. I still stand on the fact that I did not have to learn these lessons this way. But had I not learned them this way, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am right now. And before that, I used to say I wouldn't be the woman I am without my dad. Because my daddy, again, Mr. Make It Happen, did a lot for me, was very resourceful, and did his best to give me opportunities or put me in positions to get opportunities and do things. So the version of me that lost my parents no longer exists anymore. Like I'm a totally different person now. So back then I was a bit more supported and I was emotionally held and I was seen. I don't have that anymore. Now it's kind of like I have to validate myself. I have to support myself. Everything relies on me. So it's kind of like this a form of independence, I guess. I don't want to say that I was codependent on my parents. I was with my mom for a long point in my life, but I had stopped like way before, or I worked on it way before she had passed away. But with my dad, I'll admit that I was still emotionally codependent. But yeah, all these things that happened to me physically, mentally, emotionally, um, it wasn't a choice. It was survival. So as a result of that, I used to have this resentment and this envy of other people who still had their parents and thinking to myself like these people will have more time with their parents than I will, or even with my relatives. Like I'm fairly young in my family. Like my family, my parents were like almost 40 when they had me. My cousins, when I'm talking about cousins, I'm talking about Gen X Black women because they all older than me. They were younger than my mom, but older than me. So it's like all these other people around me got to experience my mom longer than I did. All these people around me had to experience my dad longer than I did in ways that I won't be able to anymore. So I really thought I just had more time to lean on them. I really thought that. And I had never had haven't been married yet. At this point, well, I mean I haven't been married, but what I'm trying to say is I wasn't too concerned about marriage. I haven't been concerned about marriage in general, but if and when the time comes in your life, you would like to have your parents there, and I will never have that. So as a result, it's kind of like I don't even want a damn wedding. I don't want a damn wedding. Not in this economy. Um, but yeah, it's like the things I thought I wanted, I don't want anymore. The things I thought that mattered, they don't matter anymore because I don't have them. And I think that's part of the emotional validation or wanting to prove, wanting to get approval from people like that who are your family or your loved ones. Um, yeah, it's I just thought I had more time. And even with my accomplishments, like there's even this grief of not having anything to celebrate anymore because I haven't gotten married. I haven't had children. I had both of my degrees by the time my parents passed away. Like, they were able to see that. First off, I barely wanted to go to the damn graduations. I didn't even go to my grad school graduation. I did my hooding ceremony, and that was it. But my parents were big on, no, we're gonna go, we're gonna take these pictures, blah blah blah. So I will never have another thing. Well, I don't want to say never. I ain't got no wood to knock on. I'm in the garage. I don't want to say never. I mean, I'm a Libra. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get married at least once or twice, but it's just not going to be celebrated in the same way. So, yeah. And because of grief, because the empathy has decreased, because a lot of this stuff don't really matter, because I don't like saying it's not that deep, but some stuff don't be that deep. But because of that, you look at the world differently. You have a different perspective and you prioritize things differently, right? So like the people pleasing or the little bit that I had left, no. Keeping the peace, absolutely not. Putting other people's needs before your own, absolutely not. Now I am kind of like better with my boundaries. I will let you know in a heartbeat when I don't like something, I'm not rocking with it. And I'm my own best advocate. And I think like so it's so interesting because when I was a little girl, it's not that I didn't have a voice, but my people didn't play about me. People they will let you know, no, she is sensitive. You don't talk to her like that. Or you don't do this with her. Or well, she actually prefers blah blah blah. Clearly I'm a child, so that's what they're supposed to be doing. But I think about that so much because a lot of people don't have that just in general, like coming up, but I did. And yeah, even just me wanting to keep the peace because my daddy was a keep the peace person child. And I honestly I didn't like that about him. Um, but my mama, oh, she was gonna set it off, and my ass be setting it off right now. Um, so like I just have a lower tolerance for BS. So I don't want to say that I don't want to keep saying that the grief broke me. It refined me and it clarified me and it rebuilt me in so many ways, right? So I didn't necessarily become stronger because we all know the fallacy in being strong. I didn't become stronger. I became more honest. I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to say how I feel because I don't have anybody to go talk to that I can trust. Not that I don't have people, I have people. But again, some people can't support you in the same way that your loved one could or whatever. But like, um, I don't have this layer of people that I can like bounce things off from who know me very well, who know my patterns, who know my history. I don't have that anymore. And that may be the case for you depending on who you lost, right? And in the life you thought you were going to have, like I have a friend who lost her boyfriend and they had a child together. And now, was never planning on being a single mother, obviously. Nobody plans for that. But also the young man had so many plans and desires of like wanting to be better with his child than what he had experienced as a child. And now you or your child, y'all don't get that. Like it's this life you thought you would have with these people who are no longer here. So I don't know. I'm done yapping so far, I guess. I'm wrapping it up and just saying that to say that grief is tricky and it can deceive you. It can deceive you into believing it's one way when it's totally different. And in fact, something that I meant to mention is that it wasn't until after I was a grieving person that I started finding media and literature on grieving, specifically with the literature. The book Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Really great book. Because, like, I don't want to give you details, but you really think some of the stuff is in real time when in reality, she's still there from when she lost this person. And that it, child, when I tell you I was stuck in 2022 for so many years, I'm happy to be here, present, mindful, and aware in 2026. And then another book I read, Hold You Down by Tracy Brown. Under normal circumstances, I would not have read a book like this because I'm just not into that genre. But I like the story of how it talked about grief without talking about grief because that's not the core tenet of the story. And you get to see it in so many different ways. Like, yeah, it's other people who experience this just like I do. And even in ways that I hadn't heard of, even though I've gone to support groups or whatever. Like It's such a wild card experience. So that's all I have for now. Thank you for listening to me yap about the gravity and deception of grief. If you liked it, please comment. Okay, like, subscribe, whatever the folks be saying. This is how we get paid, is what I'm learning. So I done gave you something for free. Help a sister out. But also tell me about your experience with grief. Like, what was something that you did not expect or that you were surprised by? Or what was the turning point for you? Like, when did you realize I could actually make it through this? I could actually recover from this? Let me know, because you ain't in it alone. You not in it alone. It's easy to feel like that, but you're not. You're not. And I'm always welcome to conversations because, honey, I know. Okay. I'd have been through that. And unfortunately, everybody else is going to have to go through that as well. Everybody's going to have to lose their parents. That's just the facts of the matter. That's a part of the human condition, life and death. But you may not have lost parents. You may have lost someone else close to you or somebody else that you love. So, the whole time, my skincare routine, it's not hot in the garage. It's just the skin. Either way, let me get off of here. I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good day, and thank you for watching and listening.